What never gives is compensation and benefits of employees who do the real work. Explaining this simple concept to my peers usually prompts retorts along the lines of sending me to their favorite shrink. After all, they reason, the point of every business is to maximize profits, a kissing cousin to that awful mantra that has brought down so many businesses: stockholder value. My critics are both right and wrong. Right in that I'm as interested in profits as anyone, and wrong in that I will content myself with lower profits in exchange for continuity of the business, which means that my employees and customers can go about their lives without fear of my disrupting them with a decision based on greed. Second, strive for zero turnover of good employees and customers. Good employees being those who understand and agree to work within my core values, and good customers being those who recognize the value we bring to their business. The corollary to this is to strive for zero expense for recruiting and sales, two of the biggest eroders of profits for any business. We're close to meeting those goals. Our customers stick with us. Repeat business is 90% of our total. But, in a perfect example of how employees and customers are intertwined, after almost 3 years in business, I had to let one of our 20 engineers go largely because of his insensitivity to a customer's needs, another because he, for some unknown reason, developed some pretty lax work habits. I hired the first engineer based on his 15 years of solid experience, great references, and outstanding qualifications, such as a professional engineer's license. I never asked his previous employer how he got along with customers. I assumed he was okay there, and you know what the first 3 letters of assume are. Anyway, I put the guy in charge of an electrical design for a small 3-story office building, and he over-designed it big time. The electrical equipment rooms, one on each floor, were at least twice the size needed, raising the initial cost of the building and, more importantly, reducing the space available for rental. That would cost the customer several $1,000s a year for however long he owned the building. Unacceptable. I trusted this engineer so much that I didn't check the design before he sent it to the customer. That's a strike against me, isn't it? The customer called a meeting with the 3 of us and pointed out the over-design. I agreed. The engineer defended his design and refused to change it. I could hardly believe my ears again. Neither could the customer. He was incensed, and he had every right to be. So I redid the design myself within a crash schedule, costing my business thousands if you count the cost of the original and revised design. The actual cost was probably much higher. I and my customer advocate had to spend considerable time smoothing the ruffled feathers of the customer. If there's any good news in the story, it's that the customer, an architect-engineer with whom we've worked for years, has forgiven our foibles and is still working with us. This brings up a major point. I'm fond of saying that it costs nothing to keep a customer. All we have to do is the job we're contracted to do, and do it better than expected. We didn't do the job in this case, so the cost of keeping the customer was horrendous and unacceptable. Yet it was far lower, probably in the area of 10%, than the cost to create a customer from scratch. Are customers and employees my motherlode of assets? You bet. All my other assets, computers, desks, and so on, are derived from these 2.